questions instead. It only took 39 seconds of uncomfortable truth for Prince Harry to completely lose his composure on live television, launching into a shocking tirade that left Michael Strahan speechless and the entire Good Morning America studio in absolute chaos. Before we dive into this jaw-dropping moment, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because we're pulling back the curtain on royalty's dark side, exposing entitled celebrities and their shocking behavior the cameras never showed you. We've got the raw footage they don't want you to see, and you won't want to miss a single reveal. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think about this outrageous behavior. Now let's get into what really went down that morning. The Good Morning America studio was buzzing with energy. Michael Strahan sat across from Prince Harry, ready to conduct what everyone thought would be a friendly, lighthearted interview. The cameras were rolling. The audience was watching. Everything seemed normal at first. Michael, being the professional he is, started with a warm welcome. "Prince Harry, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's great to have you here," Michael said with his signature smile, extending his hand for a handshake. Harry shook his hand, but his grip was loose, almost dismissive. "Yes, well, I'm here," Harry replied, settling into his chair with an air of impatience. Michael noticed the tension, but pressed forward like the seasoned host he is. "So, you've been in the States for a while now. How are you finding American life?" Harry shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable with such a simple question. "It's fine, different, more freedom than I had before." "That's great to hear," Michael responded, trying to keep things positive. "Now, I want to ask you about some of the recent comments you've made about your family. A lot of people have been talking about it." And that's when Harry's demeanor changed completely. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed. "I think I've said everything I need to say about that," he snapped back, his tone sharp and cutting. Michael, ever the professional, didn't back down. "I understand, but you've been very public about your grievances. Don't you think the public deserves to hear both sides?" Harry leaned forward, his voice rising. "Both sides? Both sides? I've lived this. I've experienced it. You sit here in your comfortable studio making millions, and you want to question me about my family?" The studio went quiet. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Michael remained calm, his voice steady. "I'm just doing my job, asking questions that our viewers want answers to." "Your viewers?" Harry scoffed, practically spitting the words out. "Your viewers don't know anything about what I've been through. They don't know what it's like to be trapped, to be suffocated by duty and tradition." Michael took a breath, maintaining his composure. "I think a lot of people can relate to family struggles. That's actually why they connect with your story. But some folks are wondering why you continue to speak about private family matters so publicly." Harry's face turned red. He pointed a finger at Michael. "You don't get to judge me. You have no idea what it's like to be born into that life. No idea what it's like to watch your mother be hounded by the press until it killed her." "I'm not judging you," Michael said calmly, his voice never wavering. "I'm asking you to help us understand your perspective." "My perspective?" Harry laughed bitterly. "My perspective is that I'm done being treated like a circus animal. I'm done with people like you pretending to care while you profit off my pain." The accusation hung in the air. Michael's expression remained professional, but you could see a flicker of disappointment in his eyes. "I'm sorry you feel that way. That's certainly not my intention." Harry stood up suddenly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Of course it is. That's all any of you want. You want me to sit here and bare my soul so you can get your ratings, sell your advertising spots, make your money." Michael stayed seated, his voice calm but firm. "Actually, I invited you here to give you a platform to share your message. But if you're not comfortable continuing this conversation, that's your choice." "My choice?" Harry's voice was getting louder now. "Nothing in my life has ever been my choice. And now I'm supposed to sit here and be grateful that you're giving me a platform? Do you know who I am?" And there it was, the entitlement pouring out. Michael stood up slowly, matching Harry's energy but not his aggression. "I know exactly who you are. You're a guest on this show, just like everyone else who sits in that chair." Harry's eyes widened. "Just like everyone else? I'm a prince. I'm royalty. You don't speak to me like I'm some random celebrity trying to promote their latest project." Michael's response was measured and powerful. "In this studio, everyone gets treated with respect. But everyone also gets asked real questions. That's what journalism is." "Journalism?" Harry laughed again, but there was no humor in it. "This isn't journalism. This is tabloid garbage dressed up in a suit and tie." The insult was direct. Michael's jaw clenched slightly, but his voice remained steady. "I've been doing this for a long time. I've interviewed presidents, athletes, actors, and yes, even royalty. I treat every single person with dignity and respect. But respect goes both ways. Harry took a step closer to Michael's desk. You want to talk about respect? You ambushed me with these questions. This was supposed to be a friendly conversation. Michael shook his head. I sent your team the topics we'd be covering 3 days ago. Your people approved everything. That's a lie. Harry shot back immediately. It's not, Michael replied firmly. I have the emails. Your publicist confirmed receipt and said you were comfortable with the direction of the interview. Harry's face was now completely red. He was cornered and he knew it. Well, I'm not comfortable now. I'm not comfortable with your tone, your questions, or your attitude. Michael spread his hands. My tone has been nothing but professional. I've been respectful, even when you've been hostile. Hostile? Harry's voice cracked slightly. You think I'm being hostile? You haven't seen hostile. You have no idea what hostile looks like. The threat was implicit but clear. Michael didn't flinch. I'm going to ask you to calm down. We can take a break if you need one. I don't need a break, Harry snapped. I need you to show me some respect. I need you to understand that I don't answer to you. Michael's response was simple and devastating. You're right. You don't answer to me. But you chose to come on this show. You chose to sit in that chair. If you don't want to answer questions, that's fine. But don't attack me for doing my job. Harry grabbed the microphone, clipped to his shirt, and ripped it off, the sound echoing through the studio. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I've dealt with the British press for years. I've dealt with scrutiny and criticism my entire life. But this is beneath me. Then leave, Michael said quietly, but his words carried weight. If you feel that way, you're free to go. No one's forcing you to stay. The challenge was laid down. Harry stared at Michael, his breathing heavy, his fists clenched. What did you just say to me? Michael repeated himself, slower this time. I said you're free to leave. The door is right there. Harry's mouth opened and closed. He looked around the studio, suddenly aware that dozens of crew members were watching this unfold. You're kicking me off? I'm not kicking you off, Michael clarified. I'm giving you the option to leave since you've made it clear you don't want to be here. That's the same thing, Harry protested, his voice rising again. You're forcing me out because I won't play your game. Michael shook his head slowly. The only game here is the one you're playing. You came on this show to promote your narrative, but the second you faced a question you didn't like, you fell apart. The words hit hard. Harry's eyes flashed with anger. Fell apart? I haven't fallen apart. I'm standing up for myself. I'm refusing to be bullied by the American media, just like I was bullied by the British media. This isn't bullying, Michael said, his voice rising slightly for the first time. This is accountability. You've made serious allegations against your family. You've written books, done interviews, created documentaries. You put yourself in the public eye. People have questions. That's not bullying. That's consequence. Harry took another step forward. Consequence? You think I deserve consequences for telling my truth? I think everyone deserves consequences for their actions, Michael replied. Good or bad, you've chosen to make your family issues public. The consequence is that people are going to ask you about it. That's how this works. Harry's hands were shaking now. You're twisting everything I say. You're making me look like the bad guy when all I've ever done is try to protect my family. Michael's expression softened slightly. I'm not trying to make you look like anything. I'm asking you questions. Your answers are your own. But the way you're asking them, Harry insisted, his voice desperate now. The way you're framing everything, it's manipulative. It's designed to trap me. It's designed to get answers, Michael corrected. That's what interviews are for. Harry ran a hand through his hair, clearly frustrated. This is exactly why I left. This is exactly why I walked away from everything. Because no matter what I do, no matter what I say, people like you will always twist it. Michael leaned forward slightly. People like me? What does that mean? Harry waved his hand dismissively. The media, the establishment, everyone who profits from keeping me down. Keeping you down? Michael's eyebrows raised. You live in a mansion in California. You have multi-million-dollar deals with streaming services. You've written best-selling books. How exactly are you being kept down? The question landed like a punch. Harry stammered. That's not. You're missing the point. The point is about my mental health, my well-being, my family's safety. And I respect all of that, Michael said genuinely. But you can't have it both ways. You can't seek the spotlight when it benefits you and then cry foul when people ask tough questions. Harry's face contorted with rage. I'm not crying foul. I'm calling out your bias. I'm calling out your agenda. My agenda? Michael looked genuinely confused. My agenda is to inform our viewers. That's it. Don't lie to me, Harry spat. Everyone has an agenda. Everyone wants something from me. Michael stood up straighter. You know what I want? I want you to answer honestly. I want you to have a real conversation instead of hiding behind prepared statements and victim narratives. The words, victim narratives, hung in the air like smoke. Harry's entire body tensed. Did you just call me a victim? I said victim narrative, Michael clarified. There's a difference. No, there isn't, Harry shouted, his voice echoing through the studio. You're dismissing everything I've been through. You're minimizing my trauma. Michael remained calm. I'm not dismissing anything. I'm asking you to take responsibility for your choices. Responsibility? Harry was practically shaking now. I've taken more responsibility than anyone in my family. I've admitted my mistakes. I've gone to therapy. I've done the work. Then prove it, Michael challenged. Sit back down. Answer the questions. Show everyone that you can handle criticism without falling apart. Harry stared at him, his chest heaving. For a moment, it looked like he might actually sit back down. But then something shifted in his expression. Pride took over. I don't have to prove anything to you or anyone else. You're right, Michael agreed. You don't. But you also don't get to complain about being misunderstood if you won't engage honestly. Harry grabbed his jacket from the back of the chair. I'm done here. This interview is over. The interview was over the moment you ripped off your microphone, Michael pointed out. Harry paused, realizing Michael was right. He'd already quit. He'd already made his decision. Now he was just dragging it out. You're going to regret this, he said, his voice low and threatening. Michael's expression didn't change. Is that a threat? It's a promise, Harry replied. You think you can embarrass me on national television and get away with it? You think there won't be consequences for you? The threat was now explicit. Michael's voice became firmer. I haven't embarrassed you. You've embarrassed yourself. And if you're threatening me, I suggest you think very carefully about your next words. Harry seemed to realize he'd gone too far. He backpedaled slightly. I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying that people will see this. They'll see how you treated me. Good, Michael said simply. I hope they do see it. I hope they see that I treated you with respect and professionalism while you acted like a spoiled child who couldn't handle being asked real questions. The insult was direct and cutting. Harry's face went from red to almost purple. How dare you? How dare you speak to me that way? How dare I? Michael's voice rose. How dare you come into my studio, into my house, and disrespect me, my crew, and this show? How dare you act like you're above basic courtesy and decency? Harry looked around wildly, as if searching for support. But every crew member avoided his gaze. He was alone in this. I want to speak to your producer. I want to speak to whoever is in charge here. I am in charge here, Michael said firmly. This is my show, and I'm telling you that you need to leave now. Harry's hands balled into fists. You can't kick me off. Do you know what this will do to your ratings? Do you know the backlash you'll face? Michael crossed his arms. I'm willing to take that risk, because my integrity means more to me than ratings, something you might want to consider. The jab hit its mark. Harry's eyes welled up slightly, but he blinked the tears away. This is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. What's unbelievable? Michael said, his voice softening just a touch. Is that you thought you could come here, dodge questions, attack me personally, and face no consequences. That's not how the world works. Harry shook his head. You don't understand. You couldn't possibly understand. Then help me understand. Michael offered one last time. Sit back down. Let's start over. Let's have a real conversation. For a brief second, hope flickered, but Harry crushed it immediately. No, I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with this show. I'm done with all of it. Michael nodded slowly. Okay then. I wish you well. The civility in Michael's voice seemed to infuriate Harry even more. Don't patronize me. I'm not, Michael said honestly. I genuinely do wish you well. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Harry laughed bitterly. What I'm looking for is some basic human decency. What I'm looking for is someone who will listen without judgment. I did listen, Michael countered. You just didn't like what I had to say in response. Harry grabbed his phone from the chair. My team is going to hear about this. Your network is going to hear about this. Everyone is going to know how you treated me. Please do tell them, Michael said calmly. Tell them that I asked you fair questions. Tell them that you couldn't handle it. Tell them whatever you want. The footage speaks for itself. The mention of footage made Harry freeze. "You're not going to air this." "Why wouldn't we?" Michael asked. "Because it makes me look bad," Harry said desperately. Michael's expression was unreadable. "You made yourself look bad. I just asked questions." Harry's voice became pleading. "Please, don't air this. I'll come back. We can do it again. I'll be better." Michael considered this for a moment. "If you sit back down right now, we can continue. But no more outbursts, no more attacks, just honest conversation." Harry looked at the chair, then back at Michael. You could see the war happening inside him. Pride versus pragmatism, ego versus damage control. "I need guarantees. I need to know you won't ask certain questions." "I can't give you that," Michael said simply. "That's not how journalism works." "Then we have nothing more to discuss," Harry said, his voice cold now. "I guess we don't," Michael agreed. Harry walked toward the exit, his footsteps heavy and deliberate. He reached the door and turned back one last time. "You're going to regret this, Strahan. I promise you that." Michael didn't respond. He just watched as Prince Harry pushed through the door and disappeared from the studio. The silence that followed was deafening. The crew remained frozen, unsure what to do. Michael stood there for a moment, processing what had just happened. Then he turned to the camera and spoke directly to the viewers. "Well, that certainly didn't go as planned. When we come back, we'll discuss what just happened here and what it means." The professional in him never wavered. Even after being attacked, threatened, and disrespected, Michael Strahan maintained his composure. He kept his dignity. He did his job, and that's exactly what makes him the consummate professional he is. What you just witnessed was a masterclass in how to handle an out-of-control guest. Michael never raised his voice unnecessarily. He never resorted to personal attacks. He simply stood his ground and refused to be bullied. While Prince Harry came in expecting special treatment, expecting softball questions, expecting everyone to bow down to his title, Michael treated him like any other guest, with respect, yes, but also with accountability. And that's what Harry couldn't handle. He couldn't handle being treated like a regular person. He couldn't handle being asked to explain himself. He couldn't handle the idea that his title doesn't shield him from criticism or questioning. The mask slipped. The carefully crafted public image cracked. And what we saw underneath was someone who talks about empathy and understanding, but showed neither during this interview. Look at how Harry responded when challenged. He became defensive. He became aggressive. He threatened the host. He tried to use his status as a weapon. He demanded special treatment while simultaneously claiming he wants to be seen as normal. The contradiction is staggering. Michael gave him every opportunity to course correct. Multiple times, he offered Harry a chance to reset, to start over, to have a genuine conversation. But Harry's pride wouldn't allow it. His ego wouldn't let him back down. Think about the irony here. Harry has spent years talking about how the media mistreats him, how he's been unfairly targeted, how he's been misunderstood. But when given a platform to share his side, when invited onto one of the biggest morning shows in America, he couldn't handle basic follow-up questions. He proved every critic right in the span of minutes. He showed that maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't always the media. Maybe sometimes the problem is him. Michael Strahan has interviewed countless high-profile individuals, athletes, politicians, actors, musicians, people with massive egos, and even bigger platforms. And yet, this interview stands out because of how poorly Harry conducted himself. Other guests have faced tough questions. Other guests have been challenged on their statements. But they handled it with grace. They engaged in dialogue. They recognized that being questioned isn't an attack, it's an opportunity. Harry missed that opportunity. He could have used this platform to really connect with the American audience. He could have explained his perspective in a way that made people understand. He could have shown humility, vulnerability, authenticity. Instead, he showed entitlement. He showed arrogance. He showed contempt for the very process he agreed to participate in. The saddest part is that Harry probably thinks he was the victim in this situation. He probably walked out of that studio believing he stood up for himself, that he refused to be pushed around. But anyone watching can see the truth. He wasn't standing up for himself. He was having a tantrum because someone didn't treat him like royalty. Michael's final offer to let Harry sit back down and start over was genuinely gracious. It was a lifeline, a way for Harry to save face and salvage something from this disaster. But Harry's pride wouldn't let him take it. He'd rather storm off, make threats, and burn bridges than admit he overreacted. That tells you everything you need to know about his character. Real strength is admitting when you're wrong. Real courage is being vulnerable enough to acknowledge your mistakes. Harry showed neither. Instead, he proved that titles mean nothing without character to back them up. He proved that you can talk about mental health and growth all you want, but if you can't handle criticism, you haven't actually grown. He proved that leaving the royal family didn't free him. He's still trapped, just in a prison of his own making now. A prison built from ego, defensiveness, and an inability to see himself clearly. Michael Strahan walked away from this interview with his reputation intact, if not enhanced. He showed why he's one of the most respected hosts in television. He maintained his composure under attack. He stood firm in his principles. He refused to be bullied or intimidated. And he did it all while treating Harry with far more respect than Harry treated him. That's the difference between someone who has earned their position and someone who was born into theirs. Michael worked for everything he has. He knows the value of hard work, discipline, and respect. Harry was given everything and seems to resent the very privileges that afforded him his platform. This moment will be studied. It will be dissected. It will be remembered as a turning point where the public got to see behind the carefully managed PR facade, where we got to witness what happens when entitlement meets accountability. And the result wasn't pretty. Harry lost this confrontation the moment he ripped off his microphone. Everything after that was just making it worse. The threats, the demands, the inability to admit fault. Each action dug the hole deeper, and through it all, Michael remained the picture of professionalism. Never flustered, never petty, never stooping to Harry's level. He simply did his job, asked his questions, and maintained his integrity. That's leadership. That's grace under pressure. That's what separates good hosts from great ones. So when you think about this interview, remember that it takes two people to have a conversation. Michael showed up ready to engage. Harry showed up ready to be coddled. Michael asked questions. Harry wanted affirmation. Michael sought truth. Harry wanted validation. And when those two approaches collided, only one person handled it appropriately. The one who earned his seat through talent, hard work, and dedication. Not the one who inherited a title and thinks that makes him untouchable. This was supposed to be Prince Harry's moment to shine. Instead, it became a showcase of everything wrong with celebrity culture and entitlement. A reminder that no matter how much you talk about growth and healing, if you can't handle being questioned, you haven't actually changed. You've just found new ways to play the victim. Michael Strahan gave Harry every chance to succeed. Harry chose